Well,
Be happy after Mother's Day.
belated. Happy after Mother's Day. Happy
Yeah.
postpartum mother. No, I don't even know.
Oh,
Oh,
postpartum Mother Day. That's interesting.
after Mother's Day. Well, you're still a mom after postpartum. You're still momming,
Yep,
right?
definitely.
Well, so as many of you people know that are going to be watching today's show or you're going back, we just had Mother's Day 4 days ago, 3 days ago. What day is Wednesday? 3 days ago. I can't even keep up anymore because the time is going by so fast. So happy belated Mother's Day to all the mommies out there and those single dads who also have to mother as well, because that's another little tidbit we'll go into a little later into the show. Deena, happy Mother's Day to you
Thank
as
you,
well.
Carrie. Carrie, happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you, Deena. I appreciate that. Now we have the
So,
cordials out of the way. So
yeah,
what's rocking and popping?
uh, well, I want to dig into this a little bit right off the hop because
Yes.
I just published an article on my LinkedIn newsletter around, not everybody's celebrating Mother's Day. And we can't just assume that. And this also falls into we can't be afraid as well to say kind things and the traditional greetings to people and be concerned all the time with I might be offending somebody, I might be hurting somebody's feelings, and we've become so sensitized to that of how it's being received and perceived when we say something out of kindness or habit or whatever you want to call it. So without setting that tone, like I don't want to set a tone of paranoia that we just zip it and we don't talk to other people because we're afraid of how they may perceive that, even though it's meant with love and kindness. But we do have to pause and be aware, notice if it doesn't really land, or ask somebody, do you have any plans for the weekend or for Mother's Day? Do you celebrate Mother's Day? And so I've had lots of conversations with people this past week and asked them that. Do you celebrate Mother's Day? And if so, what do you do? Are you a mother, or do you have a mother that you talk to or not? Um, do you consider yourself a fur parent? Like you've got
That's a
dogs
good
and
valid
cats
point
and
too.
horses, like
Mm-hmm.
that, we don't necessarily celebrate that type of mothering on Mother's Day, but even Mother Nature, for me, we have that term that we call, the great outdoors, the world, nature, and also Mother Nature has impact in many of our lives and how we feel. If there's a storm brewing right now here in Alberta, and batten down the
Yay.
hatches. Here we go, May long weekend. It usually does that. So Mother Nature can really impact us in some ways. So there's so many different ways of considering maternal approaches to life, and like you mentioned, the dads as well. So are people maybe they're navigating a loss or a death, or
Mm-hmm.
or a parent who's dealing with dementia or Alzheimer's. Maybe they are trying to navigate co-parenting and they won't be able to spend time with their kids this weekend for whatever reason. There's a lot of tricky,
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable, awkward challenges that surround Mother's Day. And it's similar, like we talked about with Valentine's as well. Not everybody celebrates it and they have their reasons. They're just not all about that, or they think it's too commercial, or it's distressing or triggering. Mother's Day, I feel,
Same.
can be similar.
And then Father's Day is coming up as well. So we'll probably talk a little bit about Father's Day. Yeah, and the different meanings between the 2 days as well, I think is very important. However, I agree with you on every single topic that you said about, a mother can symbolize many different things. Sometimes there's even mothers who have brought in children that are orphans. They're not like biological mothers. There's mothers of, just the kids in the neighborhood. Everyone, it's
Yeah.
the mom, and maybe she doesn't have any kids at all, but she's considered everyone's mom, right? Even a favorite auntie could be kind of considered like
Yeah.
a motherly figure. So, how are we looking at those motherly figures in our life? How are we celebrating them, giving them kudos for all their work that they do every single day? I always like to kind of bring in the fact that, and it's the same with Valentine's Day, I like to say it's not just something to be celebrated once a year.
Yeah.
I think a mother should be, and those that need recognition should have recognition, maybe not daily, but just, bring it up to them. Go, you're doing a wonderful job as a mom. Here's some, flowers. Here's a night out. Here's this or that. And just out of the blue, instead of, most people know, okay, well, Mother's Day is coming around the corner. I know I'll be getting a gift, and like it's expected, right? So how can we, surprise somebody on a different day, but still celebrate them? So Deena, what did you celebrate Mother's Day? Did you get any gifts?
Uh, I had my best friend came and visited the day before, and we spent the day together. And she brought me flowers, a hanging basket, which was lovely. And we went to some greenhouses because she had plans with her kids who still live at home on Sunday. So we spent Saturday together. We both loved just wandering through greenhouses and nurseries, and plant nurseries,
The
and
nursery.
yeah, baby plants.
Aw, the
Aw,
babies.
yeah. And then I was home alone on Mother's Day. That's, I don't know how many years in a row. It hasn't always been that way. I know one time my daughter and my two little grandsons, I was outside planting flowers, and I hear knock, knock, and they surprised me, and they came from out of town to visit. And happy Mother's Day. That was so sweet. And I know that isn't always possible. So I don't mind having a day home to myself. I put in my garden. That's 2 years in a row now. I've actually put it in earlier, so I put it down on Mother's Day. And I enjoyed outside. It was beautiful weather, so I walked, I sat on the deck reading, I gardened, just really soaked up Mother Nature, I guess, on Mother's Day. That's what I did. And I had
Yeah,
really nice long visits. I had phone calls from my kids and had some good visits with them. And so that was a real gift to me. That means more to me than anything. How about you,
right.
Carrie?
I too was not home alone, but I was home. I didn't have any outside plans with anybody. No one made any specific plans with me. However, I had my oldest pop in with his girlfriend, and I got my flowers. So that was a lovely
Lovely.
surprise because I was not at all expecting. No one had, like I said, made any plans in advance. It was completely a surprise. So I was like, oh, this is so lovely. And it was just lovely. And then, we got some food in and just enjoyed the evening, and that was that. So I always like to be more surprised. Like I always go into a day not expecting anything, whether it's a birthday, Valentine's, Mother's Day, whatever it be, go into the day, not because I think if we expect a certain thing, sometimes we can get disappointed. So just
Yeah.
like yourself, if your kids, they say you are expecting every single year that they come and visit you. This is the thing, like this is the rule. They must. And then all of a sudden they're like, no, we can't make it. How are you going to feel? Right. So I like to have that unexpected, lovely surprises. Those are my favorite. So yeah, it's beautiful. I love that. What do you think
I,
are,
I think that fits for anything in life. Yeah,
yeah,
not set yourself up for disappointment, not have expectations on others, because I keep coming across this, and it's reinforced over and over in different ways, different voices, that our happiness starts inside us. When we keep looking to others to make us happy, to do what, feel some type of expectation that we have, either that we have expressed or that we just have and they don't even know, then it's really setting ourselves up for these challenges, like suffering or disappointment or resentment
Mhm.
even. And that is not fair to anybody. We wouldn't appreciate that weight put on us. So it's up
Right.
to us not to, we create our own happiness. We don't have to rely on others, because when we do that,
Mhm.
then we are setting ourselves up for some resentment, ruining relationships, that type of thing. I actually watched a really good Brene Brown Netflix special last night, and it's not brand new, but I had never seen it before. And she does talk about that, where,
Mhm.
just pausing and saying, the story I'm telling myself in this situation is that, you don't care, or I wasn't a priority, or, just being honest and saying, that's the story I'm making up in my head. But like, how does that land for you? And have those open conversations. And it turns out that quite often there was no intention to hurt or to exclude you or forget you or anything. They
Right.
just, they're like, oh, didn't know that you were expecting that or looking forward to that, or that it meant that much to you.
Yeah.
But if we can be clear and share with others, how we might be making something up in our head, and give them the opportunity to have some open communication.
Yeah, absolutely. I love how, you were saying that you just wanted to, you were fine with spending the day alone with Mother Nature. And I think as moms, sometimes even just alone time can be very healthy and very just like calming, relaxing. But again, like if someone's got plans, maybe call ahead. I know there's a surprise factor, which is always good, but those who are surprising you, don't be like, maybe don't plan it so you want to stay too long. Maybe the other, person has plans. Mom's got plans and you weren't involved, you know,
Yeah.
but don't be offended if like it's a quick visit, right? If she's got plans. But I think as moms, we're always pouring into, we're nurturing and naturing everything else, right? We're
Yeah.
nurturing not necessarily ourselves. So that's one key thing Mother's Day can actually maybe bring to mothers is having a chance to stop and say, hey, what is a gift that I can give myself or a gift that others can give to me on Mother's Day that I can really use? Although when our children were smaller and they made the cute little things at school, I mean, you just can't beat that, right? That's just the
Well, I
cutest
have
things
a
ever.
funny story about that, Carrie. I remember distinctly making this necklace bracelet set and earrings in kindergarten.
Macaroni, right?
No, not macaroni. That would have been
Oh,
better. It was clay. And
oh,
so
oh.
I made these beads that were about so big, square, and I beaded them together as a necklace and a bracelet. So we shaped them, they were colored, they dried, you put a hole through it, and then you put string through, right? And then earrings, and I was very creative. I made these long strings so that it could hang over the ear and then have the big chunky, right?
Wow,
Clever for
clever.
kindergarten. And you know what?
Look at you.
My mom wore those to church that Sunday. She, I like,
She's
that's how
walking
many
around.
decades ago? And I just think, wow, that was that meant a lot. And looking back, it means even more, thinking of how fashionable they were and comfortable. It was heavy. Oh, good
She
Lord.
lost 10 pounds that day.
Yeah, yeah. But it is those little things that mean a lot. Like, how about a fistful of dandelions? Like,
Aw.
what mom or auntie or grandma hasn't had, or dad even, usually it's the moms though that they give it to, it hasn't touched your heart with a handful of dandelions. Like,
That
how
are
sweet.
dead, the dead ones.
Yeah.
But they're wishes, right? You're supposed to
Yeah.
blow them, make wishes. So who doesn't want a handful of wishes, right? That's the cutest thing ever. Let's talk about, because I put in like the little blurb, but I wanted to know maybe some of the worst gifts that you've heard of that somebody got for Mother's Day, or, maybe what could be in your imagination, what would be a really bad gift.
The only one I've ever heard people complain about and I don't relate to it because I'm very practical minded. They hate being given kitchen or cleaning appliances. Like, don't give me a new vacuum. Like, F off. I don't want a new mixer or a special Instapot. That is the one I hear people complain about the most. Like, fuck off. Like, I don't like, really, that's work. That means that sounds
You
too
give
much
it
like
back to
work.
them and say, hey, you first.
Yeah, want to
You're
demonstrate?
bringing me a new vacuum? Great. The house, go ahead.
Yeah,
It's all yours.
knock yourself out. Anyways, that is the one I hear the most grumblings and rumblings about. I I can't think of
The ugly sweater.
yeah, but how can I criticize that when ugly jewelry I made my mom she wore when I was a little kid, right? Like it wasn't a bad gift. It was made with a lot of heart and
A lot of
you know,
love.
I don't know. How about you, Carrie? Like what's the worst?
I don't think I've had a bad gift ever really given to me. However, just something distasteful that perhaps the other person like really can't use, or is like maybe even a sweater that's like their most horrible, like they hate the color, but yet they don't want to say anything, right? Because it's like the thought that counts. I think that's always the important thing. I look at gifts as how much effort someone put into it, and then they try and think of me. So I myself have received pretty good gifts. um, Most people know, my kids know, they I love Timmy's, so I always usually get like a Tim Hortons gift card, and I'm like, thank you. Because every time I sip of coffee, I'm like, oh, this is thank you. Thank you. So
Yeah.
very tasteful. But as mothers, though, yeah, you get those really weird gifts that your kids make in school that are lopsided, or like you said, the jewelry that's maybe out of macaroni or clay or whatever it happens to be. And I just, as soon as you said clay, I thought of this Instagram post I sent you. Then you'll have to go back and look at it. But anyway,
Okay.
it's interesting jewelry. But anyway, I know
Well, this
this
is
is
an
this is
unfiltered
not
episode.
a okay. So it was pottery that was stretched out to make a bigger gift for ladies.
Hence your reference to tasteful gifts.
Right.
I think to
That's
the
all that
right,
was.
you wouldn't give that to your mother,
Pottery
probably. Well, not that
or a
Shiva
utility.
pottery. Penis pottery. Would you give that to your mom for Mother's Day?
You know, if you are a sex coach, maybe perhaps
Oh,
like Janine, right? We had Janine on
yep,
our show
yep,
before. So it would go, and if they got a really good sense of humor,
yep.
if
If you
they
know the person,
are,
yeah.
maybe they do bachelorette parties, maybe they are whatever. So those are like almost like the prank gifts as well,
Yeah,
would be not necessarily distasteful, but sometimes really welcoming.
yeah, yeah. So
you
know
know,
your audience, know your
know your
recipient.
audience, know your mom. Kids, know your mothers. Go out there, ask your dads, what does mom like, whatever. And I do suggest that you regardless do that. And I suggest doing it months in advance or a month in advance, because then it's not quite like moms don't think about it. They when it's May, we're like, oh yeah, Mother's Day is coming up, whatever. But do it like January.
Well, yeah, put some thought so it's not last minute, and then you can be more creative. You've got time to be more creative with what you're
Yes.
doing.
Yes, absolutely. I was at the gym the other day. There were some ladies, and we're all happy Mother's Day. And one lady was like, we're like, how was it? And she's like, it was actually horrible, because they went to a restaurant that they love. I can't even remember the name of it. But anyway, they went to this restaurant they totally love. They always go there all the time. And the service was absolute shit. And why? It's the same as like Valentine's Day or the other big days. It's because everyone goes, they're trying to book a table for mom. They're trying to impress mom. They're whatever. When those situations happen, what do you expect? Are you going to expect top-notch service? Are you going to expect? And she's like, the food was cold, the service was slow, it was obviously noisy, whatever. And you're going to expect that. You have to go in and expect that. You can't tell me that you're not going to expect it when it's a popular day to go and celebrate. Obviously, dads
But
and kids may not want to cook and they want to make you like no mess. So I suggested one thing. I had said, and I've done this myself, especially Valentine's Day, because I'm just using it as an example because it's such a busy day, like so busy. Go either the day before or the day after. Mm-hmm. When you're beating that entire rush. So yes, sometimes we can only do it on the weekends because that's the only times available. Do it the night before and celebrate mom the night before. And in fact, you can even surprise her and go, oh, mom, we decided to take you the day before so you can sit down and enjoy a hot meal in a quieter restaurant than going on a really friggin' busy day and having cold food and horrible service.
That's a great idea. However, I do want to play devil's advocate here because you're talking about preparing. Restaurants, this isn't a surprise day that just popped up. It happens every year. They could be prepared and anticipate this ahead of time as well, so that because this is going to impact their future business all around, not just on special occasions. But yes, that is an amazing suggestion, Carrie, especially for those of us who like it quieter. You aren't hollering to try and visit. There isn't a ton of people. And yeah, hot food is nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm the same. Like if I have Ubered in some food and it's cold, I'm like, okay, throw it in the microwave. It's nice and warm. But you can't do that at a restaurant. I mean, you can send it back and say, hey, can you, throw this in the microwave for 20 seconds, please? Like, but usually they just have the warming lamps and they're the fooders that's sitting there. So it's up to the waiter or waitress to go pick up the food and deliver it on time to the table. That is their job. So I think it's super important. Like if your mom is anal about, like myself, I love hot food, to be able to have a nice warm meal served to them, to perhaps go the day before or day after, and voila. And you are totally correct. If I were in the service industry, restaurant industry, exactly the restaurant industry, there's going to be this many people coming in and it's moms, and the dads, they're wanting to please you, right? Dads want to please you. The kids want to please the mom. If mom's not happy, how is that going to go? We're never, ever going to eat here ever again. Right? That's going to be the conversation. Kids, like, thank you for taking me. However, let's not ever go back there again because, right? All the ratings on Google or Yelp or whatever it is are like 1 star, not even 1 star. They're all just like, burn this place to the ground. We're never going back there ever again. So do you prefer, Deena, would you go to a restaurant for dinner on Mother's Day?
Probably. Yeah. If that's the day that my kids or family or whoever's going to take me is available, then I'd go.
And how would you feel about horrible service, noisy, cold food?
My reaction, I mean, I know it costs quite a bit to eat out now. Yeah. And you have expectations that go around that cost. And I don't know if it's like what is factoring. I mean, I've read some of Anthony Bourdain's books and just that, like what's happening in the background too. But I would be curious more than anything to know and have compassion. Like something's gone sideways for them if they're struggling like this, especially if it's one that you've had good luck with in the past. It'd be like, I wonder what's going on. Like, I feel bad, what's happening in starting at the front line, like the person you're interacting with, your server.
Yeah.
Is there something happening in their own lives that's impacting their ability to focus and function? Or is like, how far back is it, is the train falling off the rails? Like what's going on? especially if, like I say, this is out of the ordinary. And maybe it's a mom who has to work on Mother's Day, and she has to take this serving shift, and she'd rather be with her kids that day. So that's my honest reaction.
Yeah.
And then of course there's also the human other side of that reaction that can be like, well, geez, you're ruining my Mother's Day sort of thing, right?
How
And
dare you?
I'd feel bad too if, like, how my family, whoever's treating me to this meal, feels, because they may
Yeah.
feel very disappointed that they're trying to do something nice and it isn't going as well as they had hoped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. True. And compassion, let's say you had no idea. The kids took you there, and say they're older children. Maybe dad's on the picture and the kids are like, yeah, well, let's just take you. And you have to have, yeah, bad service, this, that, whatever. But again, I would show compassion and go, it's the thought. Like, they took me on this day. Thank you so much. Yeah. And then because maybe the kids are profusely apologizing and going, oh, we didn't
Yeah.
know that it would be such bad service and we feel so bad. And, so shit
It's an
happens.
It's
Shift
an
happens,
opportunity.
Tina.
Yeah, shift happens. And here's the shift that can happen in that, is you
Yes.
use it as an opportunity to say, hey, we don't know what's happening in
Yeah.
that server's life right now, or, and just use it as an opportunity to say, well, let's just consider that we don't know everything that's going on, and cut them some slack, and have a little grace, and maybe leave a tip that they wouldn't expect, like, maybe I'll leave the tip, even if they're treating me to the meal. I'll say like, hey, look,
Yeah.
let me cover the tip. I want to do something special for this person that day, and you've got the meal, whatever. You can get creative, but yes, that's where shift happens, is
That's
when we
totally where shift
can,
happens.
instead of that reaction, that we tend to want to lean towards.
Right. And there could also be mothers out there at that restaurant, and it's their first Mother's Day ever with their children. It could be one that they haven't, like your kids live out of town, and it's like their only opportunity to come in. Their kids could live really far away. They could be in another country and they're coming in, and that's the only time. So having grace, and again, shifting that mindset and going, yeah, let's be thankful that we get this time together. This is the important thing. And I think moms, as a whole, I think we are really good about, taking those moments and going like, yeah, this is where the family's here or the kids are here, enjoying those opportunities because time is short, right? So looking at that in a positive aspect and going, hey, this is great. Is there, or has there been, a Mother's Day that you were like just your favorite one ever, all time?
Whoa. Well, seeing as how I've been a mother for 35 years,
Pick one anyway.
yeah, I probably the very first one, just because you're a mom, and at that time I'd been a mom for like 6 weeks. So my first Mother's Day, and just feeling like you've joined this exclusively incredible club. It's such an honor, and that
Yeah.
was for me, I would say. But some of them have been, honestly, when I've asked myself, what would I like to do today? And is there, it's not just another day. I tend to want to just go, it's just another day and I'm home alone, or whatever it might be. But
Yeah.
really consciously and with intention, choosing, like I did here this past weekend, I am going to make this a special day for me. I am going to do something that I would like to do. And
Yeah.
that's relaxing. That was gardening, and the weather was beautiful as well. So that really was conducive to that. But I think those are some of, when I've been honest with myself, what would be special for me, and making it a day that was special instead of just another day doing the same old things, right? How about you, Carrie? What's been your most amazing Mother's Day or memorable?
Most memorable. Again, well, the first dates are always remember the first one, it's always memorable because then it's like, yeah, wow, like, yeah, you're in the club, right? You've joined the club, the exclusive mothers club. Join. So, and it's a hefty membership that
Oh,
you
for life.
know, it is a lifetime membership. It is putting in hours that require this immense amount of love to give to others that sometimes you never get back. It's knowing that you have to always continuously pour into a little people that may or may not ever be thankful, and but it's that reward in itself, going, watching your children grow into who they are, knowing all the work you've put into them. It's your own garden, if you will. So nurturing that garden over the years and going, this is just the most beautiful thing ever. My mom has actually just commented, and this
Ooh.
is what my mom said. So my
Oh,
favorite Mother's Day is when you invited me to go, oh, to the pottery store and make something nice. Speaking pottery, right? I enjoyed that. Made a plate with a hummingbird on it. You girls
oh,
invited me and John to the pottery store. So there was, I don't know if they still have it here in Calgary. So you can go to a pottery, it's like a store, but you get to paint them. So whatever it's, I've done like a piggy bank or like a little coaster. So you get to paint whatever pieces of pottery however you wish, and then they throw it in the kiln, right? And then they
kiln.
fire kiln, yeah. So they fire it up, and then you get to bring it home. But you get to individualize it, personalize
Personalize
it.
it.
Ding ding ding.
Customize
So
it.
customize it. I saw another which I was going to send to my mom, but we were all busy, and one of my sisters was away. But they also have like a sip and paint workshop as well. So those, I love doing those homemade gifts and the experiences, as with
Experience.
every holiday and any gifts. I love, like, the experiences. So that's one thing that is so fun. You can spend the time together working on a project and then you get to take it home. So that's one thing. I got an email for it. It's called Paint and Sip. So you drink wine, and I don't know if you get home or not, but who knows? Maybe you spend the night, whatever, and then you paint. I don't know. Maybe you paint when you're intoxicated. Who knows? But it sounds really fun. So that was something that I saw in my email, and it was kind of too late to be able to plan it, but I got it last year too. So maybe next year, mom, remind me, maybe we'll do that next year. But I think that's important, right? And that's another thing is, as an adult, I still have my mom to celebrate, and I have a stepmother to celebrate. So I'm very blessed to be able to have moms in my life, which is pretty cool. So, I celebrate them and, share the love, but I also have sisters who are moms. So in a whole, we're like, well, do we all want to celebrate together with our children and do that like as a whole thing? Or do we celebrate individual? That was another, it's just like Christmas almost, all celebrate together with Thanksgiving. Do we want to do that as a family, or do we want to celebrate individually? So, it's about how we actually celebrate. So, but that was, that was a fun time to be able to go and do that as a family. And then with my kids, I think I just remember getting like the cutest things from they made at school. And I was like, oh, it's just so cute. So they're always my favorite, just the little drawings or whatever. And they draw the stick people that are really tall and
Yep.
heads. And it's like, oh, it's so cute. Right. So you can't go wrong with that. But yeah, those are my favorite, the homemade projects.
And sometimes there's bath bombs or whatever they might be. Did you do you know of any, or did you find any in your research of really unique or funny or special kinds of gifts that you or someone else has experienced?
No, I didn't really do too much research on this one because as moms, I think we have special gifts in our hearts that, again, it's so individual.
It's personal. Yeah,
It's
it's
very
a
personable. It's very like,
that's
what is
right.
your mom's personality? Is she a sports fan? Is
Right.
she an Oilers fan? Is she a Kings fan? Is she does she want Stanley Cup ticket playoff? Yes. Does she want a day at the spa? Does she want to be alone gardening? Does she, right? So it's very specific to that individual mom of what they can really enjoy and love. So as when I get gifts from my mom, I'm the same. I'm very much like, what does she like? What would she enjoy? And what can she use? Because I want gifts to be useful instead of maybe that ugly sweater that's just going to sit there and may or may not be brought out when the kid comes and visits.
Well, and with gifts too, it's I know it's nicer if you can plan further in advance and and think of something ahead of time. But one of the people, like there were several different people I asked this week, and one of the guys, two of the guys actually, one said, "Oh my gosh, Mother's Day is this weekend." They had it because I said, "Oh, what have you got planned for the weekend?" There was a ball tournament for one of the kids, and it's like, "Oh, it's Mother's Day. I'm so happy you mentioned that." And this was on a Friday. I better do some shopping today because for his mom, for his
Yeah.
wife. And I said, "Well, like you might have forgot, but guaranteed she probably hasn't forgot it's Mother's Day this weekend." And he says, "Oh, I know, that would have just been awful." Um, and I think sometimes people have felt that it's kind of snuck up on us. Like all of a sudden it doesn't feel like it's that late in the year that it's actually Mother's Day happening right away. Another guy had said it had just been his wife's birthday, and then he kind of forgot. And I said, "Yeah, but your wife's birthday would be probably the same day every year, I'm assuming, just like Mother's Day." I had to give him the gears a little bit. And he
Just
goes, "Yeah."
saying.
He's like, "Yeah, definitely." Called out like, I'll get on it. And for them, it was like
Yeah.
usually send her to a spa for the day. That was her thing.
Aw,
But honestly, cut people some slack. Again, we come back to those expectations.
yes.
They they have been busy parenting or work or both, or
Yeah.
planning this ball tournament, say for example, like the one person, and it's like, "Oh, it's Mother's Day," and you don't like it. You'd feel so terrible if you got and they're like, you hear somebody say something about it being Mother's Day. It's like, crap, I
Right.
didn't do that on purpose, and then it's kind of late, and then it feels like she didn't matter. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Well, and you have to kind of realize the stages that children are at.
yes.
Are they older or are they younger? Do they have lives of their own? Are they busy? Are they, again, do they live close to you? Do they whatever? And again, it's like, I think surprises are just amazing. And it's like, well, if you got time and you can swing by or do whatever, or if it's out of the blue and they're like, well, can't make it this weekend, let's do another day where we can spend a whole day instead of just this. So
Yes.
it's that effort. I love to see just like that, like,
Acknowledgement, at least.
yeah,
Yeah.
little text, happy Mother's Day. And
Yeah.
that's another thing, is texting a good thing on Mother's Day, or should we be sticking to the card? Mom, don't say anything. I didn't get you a card. I'm sorry.
I think that's too much pressure. I think that's rules. I don't want to be the Mother's Day police. Like, it's just, no, we're not. I don't think we
So
should.
your own communication style is very important
That's true.
with your acknowledgement to your mom. So if you know your children, which most of mothers do, then you will also know their communication style of how they tell you things, of how they acknowledge you, of how they show their love to you. So maybe some are very gushy kids and they will give you, oh, my mom said text was good. Oh, okay, good. So, and my mom, that's the thing. My mom she doesn't mind texting. Like it's good and it's acknowledged. And we do the little gifts and we send the funny things or whatever. And that's good because she does live somewhere else. It's not easy to always just go in. And however, we did surprise my mom a couple of years, actually it was a few years back. My sister and I, we actually drove out to her place and we got her KFC and the family all got to sit and enjoy it. And that was a complete surprise. So that was a fun thing. So again, what do they like? Is it going to be, is it okay to stop in and surprise them? Like, you don't know. Some moms hate surprises. Some people absolutely do not ever surprise them because it's just like they could cause a panic attack. It can be like they had other plans. They were having company over. Like, knock before you come in, kind of a
I was
thing.
going to say, is there a sock on the door? Maybe don't.
One of those situations, if your, parents are whatever, right? You don't know the situation. So know the communication style, know of what's best gifts, whatever. Or if you are a mom who doesn't mind going, hey, if the kid asks, well, what would you like for Mother's Day, to feel free and go, hey, this specific thing, great.
Yeah.
Absolute bang, right? Then it's easy.
Yeah.
And I go, no pressure. If you don't want to get anything, don't get anything. I don't expect anything, but when I get something, I'm like, this is amazing. So, because it's the thought that counts for me, always, always, always. What about you, Deena? What do you think on communication? And
I think exactly the same. Again, just be careful about assumptions and expectations, and your reasoning, like hanging your hat on, or expect, like, your happiness is your choice.
right.
And if you want to choose to be offended or get resentful or feel left out, I mean, we naturally are going to feel it, but are we going to sit with that and claim it and own it and just hang on to that,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
make up stories in our head about what that is? Like, I don't think that's fair to anybody.
Right.
Carrie, you mentioned earlier that there was some history behind Mother's Day and Father's Day. Do you want to share? There isn't? No? Okay.
I never searched up. I didn't do no homework, but I did actually, we can look into that, but I do also want to go into the mental health aspect.
Ooh, yes, we
I
talked
do
about
want
that.
to go into that, but let's first, I can look it up real super quick. History of Mother's Day.
Because you sent out a teaser there at the beginning of the show that Mother's Day and Father's Day
Okay.
had some different origins, maybe, or some different meanings.
No,
So that's
no,
I was
didn't
just
do
curious.
that. Tina's
You hooked
making
me on that one.
Tina was making me go into share screen. History of Mother's Day, share. So looks like here, Mother's Day was officially established in the United States of America in 1914 by Anna Jarvis to honor her mother, Anne Reeves Jarvis, a community activist who cared for soldiers on both sides of the Civil War. It evolved from post-Civil War peace initiatives into a day celebrating mothers' roles in the home and society.
I love that it started with peace initiatives, because a mother is like you become so adept at peacemaking skills, even if you only have one child, right? Because they have friends or
right,
activities at school or sports, whatever it might be. And your peacemaking skills are actually really strong, I feel.
You in one corner, you in the other corner.
Yeah. No,
you can either ring the bell and they can fight, or they just sit in the corners and y'all got to deal with it because mom said so, right? Yeah. That is one thing about being a mama bear, is the bear side of how brutally strict we can be, but in a loving, nurturing, motherly way of what's called the hard love and or tough love.
Yeah.
Tough love is very important. I love the peace side, like you just said, and knowing that. I mean, people can go and Google it, because we could go on that forever. So, but let's not, because I wanted to go into the mental health side of things, because I think that was the important side. But keeping peace in a family has sort of been a mother's role, like you said, in a way. We can make a very good, yummy, home-cooked meal, and everyone's just like calm. and
Well, I
just
think
enjoying the
the,
food.
the nurturing side of, like, not discounting that men can
Of
be just
course,
as
men are
sensitive
amazing.
and just as emotionally intelligent. Uh, Yes, I
100%.
acknowledge that fully. But moms tend to have that nurturing quality where you can really sense when things are dysregulated, or something's bothering somebody, or they need some extra love and attention, and that also speaks to the mental health piece. I think that
Yes,
we are
it
very,
does.
very in tune with our families, more so than we often are giving, like, being aware of our own mental health. And we will all very often sacrifice our own mental health, our own well-being, in order to nurture and take care of our family. And I think the people pleasing really has to come in here too, under
Yes.
mental health, because part of that peacekeeping is sometimes avoiding conflict instead of having maybe a tough conversation to sort some things out. It's just like, no, you just want to keep things peaceful,
Yeah.
especially where there's tension, where there may be abuse involved as well. You're trying to avoid triggering any of that. And so our mental health can really take a hit and really suffer, and it becomes a pattern many times. We've watched our mothers, our aunts, our grandmothers sacrifice their own health for the sake of
Yeah.
peace, let's say, or for people pleasing, or to, you know, status quo. And
Yeah.
we don't necessarily see them have suggestions for what do they want or what do they need. It's just always they're putting themselves down the ladder of priority and making sure the family is all taken care of. And that is very taxing on mental health. And it
Yeah.
sometimes isn't even noticeable until they hit a wall and they are burnt out.
100% burning out. And especially when you're a new mom, being burnt
Mhm.
out is very real. And so maybe celebrating Mother's Day is not something that moms want to do.
Yeah.
Maybe they do want to spend it alone. Maybe, and that expectation again of, sometimes moms are amazing cooks and they're always cooking meals and they're expected to cook even on Mother's Day. And they feel that burden of like, I really just wanted to go out and just, I need a break from everything. I just need, what is your mom at in that moment? Do they need that breakaway? Do they, you know, it's very hard to tell sometimes because us moms are very good at hiding things for the sake of our families and going, well, if I'm okay, everything else is okay, as they say, right? If mom's happy, everyone else is happy. But if mom's really not happy, it's going to leak through at some point or other. And then it's going to build up and pile up and eventually eat at them. And then they're going to lose their shit.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and sometimes maybe it's, listen, I'm here every single day looking after all of you. And it doesn't have to be a full spa day. Maybe it's dad takes the kids and they go peace out somewhere and go do their own thing. And mom can just have a nap, hot bath, sit with a coffee, read a book, go for a walk. Maybe she's just going to go wander around the mall by herself or go to a greenhouse, whatever it might be. And she just like a space to breathe.
yeah. Or even goes with friends somewhere, other
Hmm.
moms, you
Yeah.
know, and just goes and they go and do a fun thing and they just get to hang out for the day and enjoy and then come back. And then usually when mom gets a break and comes back, she's happy
Recharge.
and she's like, oh, I want to see the kids. Like I miss the kids.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those things when you're a mom and you're out and you're doing things and you're with other moms, you talk about your kids anyway. So
Yeah.
you're not
Well,
really
maybe
taking a
become,
break from them, but they become the topic of like, oh, how's your
yes.
kids? How's that? What did they do for Mother's Day? What did they get you? Blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, and then eventually you go into your own conversations. But generally, they're always going to be talked about and they're always in your hearts consistently, whether you're around your children or not. So, it's always a piece of you. You're never going to ever get rid of them. So it's like, might as well enjoy them. I'm just
Well,
kidding.
and then maybe, Carrie, what happens is they come home and dad and the kids have made dinner
Yeah, an
or
extra
lunch or
dinner,
whatever. Yeah.
dessert, or they put something fun together as an activity to do, or dad puts the kids to bed early and mom gets to enjoy a bubble bath or whatever it may be. And I do suggest, doing that, but not just on Mother's Day, maybe
Yes.
once a month or something. And dads can have that too. You guys
Yes.
take turns. Be like, oh yeah, dad's week, mom's week, or like have dad's in the middle of the month, mom's at the end of the month, whatever it may be, and be able to, surprise each other and do something fun like that. Because I think nurturing each other is not just all about always gifts and whatever. It could just be like time alone. It could be something that they want to go and enjoy a movie or go and be out with buddies or do the things and enjoy, that stuff. Or if they want to take the kids, go ahead, take the kids, go do something with them and the other spouse is home, whatever, like what do they want to do?
Well, there's also a lot of single parents as well, and that
Yes.
makes it even more complicated to coordinate those types of days. So maybe a mom says, look, you know what? I would actually appreciate switching the day. Maybe I've got the kids just for part of the day, but then I would like to go do this just to relax. And yes, you have your kids part-time, so you do miss them. But again, it can be tricky to ask. It's even harder to ask when you're in a co-parenting situation to ask for what you need. And I don't know, it comes into play as well. If the kids are too small to shop for themselves, some families, the ex-spouse or the other parent will help the kids. Sometimes they bring something from school, but sometimes they will help them find a gift. And I think that's really special if you have that kind of a
Co-parenting.
amicable
Yeah.
co-parenting relationship where you help your kids show love to that other parent, even if you aren't together anymore, right? So there's so many things to navigate and to understand, and I think it's important that you ask yourself what feels right for you, not what the pressure is from anybody else, what feels right for you, and just, support your kids. And maybe you don't want to spend money on getting a gift, but you maybe suggest, do you guys want to make a card for mom for Mother's Day? They could draw a picture, make a little card, help facilitate, because those little people are really what matter in that relationship. And so how can we support the
They
single
make the
parents as well?
mom, right? So
Yeah.
they're kind of important. And I think as moms as well, if a child does not want to participate, to not get on them and be like,
Yeah.
well, you didn't love me and why aren't you getting me gifts or this or that? It's, again, maybe that child just doesn't want to do art. They don't want to make clay earrings. They don't want to,
Yep.
do the things and they just don't want to, then that's okay. And not to, yell down their throat over things. Again, keeping the peace within the household or like you said, if it's a co-parenting situation, the kids don't want to go in on it, whatever, I don't think we should be getting upset over things because then we go down that rabbit hole of, the mental health situations going off the rails and stuff. So I think that's super important. And there are other, moms out there that don't even have any type of a support system at all. And they're just, with their kids 100% of the time. So, what do we do in those situations?
I really like to hope and wish that the village that surrounds us, the compassionate communities that are willing to step up and be a surrogate auntie or grandparent. A lot of families aren't living near their extended family.
Yeah.
So it's the village around them that supports them and can be there to assist. Maybe one kid likes to garden and there's an elderly, well, it doesn't even have to be elderly, but there's a neighbor that has a garden, and invite the kid to spend some time. And then maybe one of the, like, farm them out to where they would find interest and have fun.
Right.
Maybe there's a
Or your
family that,
neighbor,
yeah,
if you've
somebody's
got
doing something
yeah,
at the park and
drop your
they,
kids off, bye.
yeah, they're like, grab my ball glove, I'm going to the park or whatever. I think the community, it's important that our communities support, that is the mental health thing as well, is be curious. Like step up, ask, would your kid like to come along, or we're doing this? Um, would they be interested in whatever it might be? And
Yeah,
be like, be willing to step up and say that, and not to be concerned that you might insult somebody, or that you're saying, I don't think you can handle all of this yourself, so maybe you should let me step in. It's not that. Just put it out there, and if it's rejected or refused or declined, that
so be it.
happens. But
Right.
maybe later down the road, that person's going to go, I wonder if they really meant that, and maybe I'll take them up on it now. Maybe they just aren't ready. They feel judged, whatever it might be. It's not on you to uh, we can't always edit ourselves. Just be aware, be sensitive that maybe it landed sideways, not the way that you meant it,
Yeah.
and put it out there. Say something, speak up, be a support, offer, make the offer.
Yeah. Yeah. There's good support systems all around us. And again, in our communities, there may be, say maybe you're not the single parent or whatever, but your neighbor is. And again, yeah, you can be like, hey, well, would your kid like to come over and watch a movie while you have a nap, or something like that? Reach out, and just something small like that is so appreciative. Or even just like, do you just want to go for a walk?
Yes.
Just to be acknowledged that, hey, maybe just a breather just from the house is always welcome. Like, you just don't know. Some moms are very just housebound, and they just need to get out of just the house. And some are go, go, go everywhere, and they just want to be home. So you recognize kind of the personality of what that person is like, and do they need out or do they need in?
Yeah,
In or out. So who knows? But I think that's a pretty good show there. And
I think so
I
too.
think, yeah, and I think I really hope you had a good Mother's Day. And those moms that are listening, I hope you all did too. And for next year's Mother's Day that comes up, maybe we gave some suggestions that could help you out. Otherwise, if you're a mom and you want to put in some comments of, some fun things or whatever, cool ideas, feel free to do that. We'll circle back around to that when we have our next show. Our next show is going to be 2 weeks, May 27th, because we kind of were going into it, but it's teen safety. So we're talking about teen safety and touching up again on the mental health of teens. But we just want to go into a little bit about that because it's very important to, as mothers, protect our teens. Like, that's, how do we as a community protect them? Deena, any last words?
Well, I think this is really relevant because I don't watch the news, but I noticed a couple things pop up on Facebook in our community where some teens there's been some very serious, there was just an incident, I believe Monday, that a teen was attacked by some others and is hospitalized. And there's been threats at local schools. Today there was just
Wow.
a safety threat. And it's something that is on parents' minds. This isn't new, but it's still very recent and very relevant. And so we will talk about teen safety, and also we'll have some information, and we're hoping to have at least one guest on
Speaker, yeah.
to dive into this a little bit and help us so that we can be more aware and informed.
Absolutely. Thank you, Deena, for a lovely show as always. It's been wonderful. And again, I hope you had a beautiful Mother's Day. You are a beautiful mom. So,
Oh, likewise, Carrie, all the love.
all the love. Well,
All the
it's
love.
important to acknowledge our fellow mothers and acknowledge that, you're doing a good job. That's all there is to it. So we got to, keep pushing through.
Cheerleading instead of judging. Love
Exactly, right? 100%. All right, everyone, have a fabulous rest of your Wednesday. Deena and I, we will see you guys in a couple weeks. I myself will see you maybe Saturday. And with that, have a great day, shifters. Bye.
Toodle-doo.
Toodaloo.